Let me begin with the recap of the Eagles Chargers game. And let me just get this out of the way. I would rather be a bad team and lose close games than be a bad team and get blown out. Okay, any day. Because at least I can say that if you lose a close game, if you lose a one possession game, then at least you know that your team played the best game that they could possibly play. And I can't say that for everyone on the team, but I had the feeling at the beginning of the season that the team wasn't going to be very great. We have a first time head coach, we have a first time defensive coordinator. It takes time for these things to progress, and I don't know if these guys are right for the team and the positions that they're in. But here they are. This is the hand our team was dealt, and we're gonna have to do the best that we can with it. So the Eagles lose 27-24 to the Chargers. Good teams win close games. Every team's going to have close games. Bad teams lose close games. And that's what the Eagles are. The Eagles are not a good team. I've been trying to say that for a long time. The first half, I would say, was relatively decent defensively. I think that, the Chargers have in their mental makeup that they're going to go for it on fourth down. And yeah, sure, it helped them later in the game. But early in the game, they could have been up by like 3 points had they not gone for it on those two fourth downs. Like, you have to know when to kick field goals and when to score touchdowns. And yeah, it's something that worked out for them in the end, but they, as a football fan, I'm somebody who hates it when a team, leaves points on the field, and that's something that they did. And it's something that's not good in that situation. But I think that as things are, it it was tough to watch this team defensively. And I really need to put that on the playing field. Defensively, this team gets outsmarted. And bad teams are always getting outsmarted. That's what happens. Bad teams get outsmarted. Good teams game plan and are able to outsmart bad teams. This defense has guys who are man corners who can play press coverage, but we don't do it. We don't do it. And like you and I've been harping on this ever since the beginning of the season, but it's just not coming to fruition. This isn't getting into the head of our defensive coordinator. The whole thing about, we're going to leave the play out in front of us so that we don't get burned. Well, even so, we still got burned. Right? Keenan Allen still burnt us for like a 50-yard gain. So it really doesn't matter what you do. I always say this. I always say that if you press a receiver and you get in their face and you draw at their face and you press them at the line, well, there aren't very many things they can do against you. They could try to run a pick against you. They could, if they're big enough, they can outsize you. But if you give them 5 or 10 yards, the route tree is wide open. You can run a hitch, you can run a hook, you can run a curl, you can run a slant, you can just do anything, unless you have instincts, which the Eagles, when you take a corner out of his element, you're not going to be able to do anything else with it. So that's a big knock against the defense. The defense couldn't close. And that rests on the hands of the defensive coordinator, because Jonathan Gannon, because he did not put these defensive players in the position to do well. Now, you go offensively, we've been harping on running the football, right? And I'm not someone who's like run the football just to run the football. I'm always someone who believes in quality over quantity. If you run the football and it's not working and you need to switch to something else, you're down by 2 or 3 possessions, yeah, sure, you got to pass the ball. But it seemed like the Eagles were overload running, and instead of using the play action to their advantage, I believe there was a specific drive at the beginning of the second half where the Chargers, they kicked a field goal, gave the ball back to the Eagles, and instead of using the play action to their advantage, they just kept running the football with Boston Scott, who's just not gonna cut it. So that in and out of itself was extremely frustrating as a fan to watch, but they did a good job running the football in the first half. It was just, once they got into the red zone the second time, they just mismanaged it completely. Mismanaged it, and it led to kicking a field goal when you have to be able to score touchdowns. Jalen Hurts throws a bad pass. I think Jalen Hurts threw 2 bad passes. The other one was a deep pass to Goddard. Should have thrown it better. Overthrew him. Was an easy walk-in touchdown to start the game off. But instead, you got stuck with what you had and you left points on the field. I'm not going to get that far onto Jalen Hurts because it's clear that he has limitations, and it's clear that, he's working really hard. It's obvious he has heart. It's obvious he has passion. It's obvious that, he wants to be the leader of the football team. But what it's also obvious is the fact that he has those limitations, and he's not able to see the field, and he panics and he leaves the pocket way too soon. And it's frustrating to watch, but there's nothing he can do about that. That's just who he's going to be. But again, you also have to understand that Jalen Hurts, he was one of the only reasons why the Eagles were in the game in the second half. When the running game had failed and he needed to step up and be that guy, and he was. That I've never harped against him doing that. He is one of those guys who does put his best foot forward and tries to win. But in this case, it was the defense that failed. We weren't able to get any turnovers. We had a short field to work with every time when it came to the defense. Easy completions. I think this was another game where the quarterback had 5 incompletions in the game, over 30 completions. That's game planning. That's game planning is what that is. It's horrible game planning. We don't play press. I've been saying this for years. You will get schooled if you're not playing press coverage in the NFL these days. And again, there are ways to beat press coverage, but when you don't get off the field on third down, you're not going to win. You're just not going to win. So that's all I have to say about that game. Congratulations to the Chargers. The Chargers are a formidable team. I don't think the Chargers are a great team, but they're definitely a team that could go to the playoffs and may make some noise. Who knows? I don't. But again, I would rather lose a game close than lose a game by getting blown out. I might be in the minority camp in that sense.